This week's topic focuses on identifying community needs and selecting a target audience and topic. So, why is it essential to identify the needs of a community? So, we really want to make sure that the projects that we create, develop, and deliver are really addressing some real world challenges of the community we have decided to work with. So we want to make sure that we are actually addressing the needs of this community, and that's what's going to make sure that it has a meaningful impact with those people. So we want to make sure, like, if we have a project that is focused on children's oral health, it's in a low income area, that's going to help to prevent cavities and build lifelong habits. Ensure that the project is meaningful and impactful. So tailoring our efforts to the specific needs helps to increase community trust as well as engagement. And then building trust and engagement within the community, making sure we're listening to and addressing the concerns of the population. This is really just overall going to help foster lasting connections. Like I mentioned, we had a group last year that worked with an organization that helps people that are going through homelessness, and so we really want to address the needs of that community. Going into that at that organization and talking to those people about the benefits of tooth whitening is not addressing any need of the community, and it's probably not something that's going to make a meaningful impact with them. But if we can understand what the needs of that group are, what type of people are coming into this organization, what types of resources do they have access to within that organization and outside of it, that's going to help us decide what can we do to help, how can we fill a gap that these people might have. Like, let's say they have access to you know toothbrushes and toothpaste and all of the equipment they need, but maybe they just need the education on how to better use those tools to help themselves. Maybe they've already had someone give that presentation, and what they really need is a presentation on how to navigate the oral health care system in a broader way. So really talking to the people of the community or the people of the organization to find out what are the actual needs. This is how we're going to create trust within the community and make sure that our project has an impact. So, how do we identify the needs of a community? We can look at local demographics. So, using things like census data, health department records, there's CDC and state public health resources. These can help us understand the specific characteristics of a community. So, researching income levels, what the healthcare access is in the community, those can help direct us to which populations might be underserved. Engage with community stakeholders. So, talking to leaders, talking to school leaders, people that work with schools or organizations, and that's going to help understand what the oral health challenges are of those specific communities. So, if you're going to go to a school, the school principal might be telling you that, these students they don't have access to fluoride treatments, or maybe they have a really robust sealant program that comes to their school. So sealants are really prevalent, but maybe they don't have anyone actually presenting any oral health information to the students, and that might be a way to fill that gap. Surveys and questionnaires. So sometimes you might be working with a group where you can actually send like a pre-presentation survey to the people, collect those surveys to find out what are their needs, what do they already know, kind of like a pre-test, like asking them questions like what do they know about oral health care, and then based on their responses catering your presentation to where you see gaps in their education. And then observing the environment. So things like, are there dental clinics in a certain community area? Is there fluoride in the water? Are there community programs that already exist that directly, already address some of these oral health needs? So observing what's going on in that area. So, some community needs that you might see. So, low income families that are lacking access to dental care. So, obviously, financial barriers can be a big thing. Children in low income families can have untreated cavities that lead to pain and missed school days. So, looking at that, we might decide how we want to cater a presentation to children to help them address, basic oral health care needs. Children that have limited knowledge of brushing techniques. So, schools that don't have active oral health education programs could benefit from a group coming in and doing a presentation for their students. Elderly populations have some untreated dental conditions, so they might have limited mobility, lack of insurance, and these can help to I mean, not help to, but make these problems even worse. So if we have, let's say we're going into a nursing home, they might have some unmet needs that we want to address as well. Looking at immigrant communities where there are language or cultural barriers, doing a presentation on how to navigate the dental care system in their community, giving them access to resources that they might not be aware of. We could make some educational materials, some pamphlets in their language to help improve oral health literacy. These are all things that we could identify as a need of a community where we can help to fill a gap. So how do we select our target audience? Well, we want to look at relevance. Does this group have an oral health need? So, we really want to look at, like, if you go to an elementary school and this elementary school has a really robust oral health education program, they've got a sealant program, they're doing weekly fluoride treatments, you've got parents that are really engaged, maybe it's in a more affluent area, you probably don't need to go into this school and give them a presentation on brushing and flossing, because they don't have, that is not a health need that they have. So really looking at the relevance of this presentation or this project. Feasibility. Can your group realistically reach and engage with the audience? When we think kind of broader at the beginning, like big picture, what type of people might we want to connect with? We might think, oh, we want to look at like rural Oregon. Can your group realistically reach and engage with that audience? I would say probably not. We're probably not driving out to rural Eastern Oregon and trying to pull people together that are really dispersed through that area. That's not going to work for this type of a project. So can your group realistically reach and engage with them? And then impact. Is your project going to make a difference for these people? So educating parents on proper brushing techniques could lead to long-term outcomes for the children. So when we look at how much of an impact is our project actually going to make? And then what do we decide about our project topic? How do we develop that? We want to make sure we're focusing on a specific oral health challenge. We want to look at a particular behavior potentially. And then we can look at also a vulnerable demographic. We want to ensure that whatever our topic is, it's clear, it's actionable, and it's measurable. So an example of something would be teaching proper brushing techniques to second graders at a local school. We're very focused, like our topic is teaching proper brushing techniques. We're not just doing like oral health care. That's too broad. We need to focus in on a specific thing that we can teach. And then we want to make sure that's achievable. So something that we can actually achieve in this type of a project with the resources, the time allotment that we have. So some common challenges and solutions. So one might be limited access to data about the community. So reaching out to the local organizations, using those state health resources, that can help us navigate through some of that. Engaging with a hard to reach audience. So making sure that we're partnering with some type of an organization or a community leader that's already serving that group of people. Looking at community centers, places where maybe groups are gathering for different types of events or different types of, smaller group type things. Something like maybe like an AA meeting. You have people that are already gathering together for a different purpose, but we can engage with the leader of that organization or whoever's sponsoring it, and then we can help to cater a presentation for that group. And then choosing a topic that's too broad. So you really want to narrow your focus to a single actionable goal. Like the goal of this is to teach better flossing habits, or the importance of flossing and how to properly do it, as opposed to talking about brushing, flossing, mouth rinse, importance of x-rays, importance of dental visits, how to find a dentist. That's too many things to cover, and that can be really overwhelming, and it's a little bit bigger of a topic than what we're trying to do with this project. So looking at really just what is a good single actionable thing that we can implement. So making sure that we are identifying the needs of our community is really going to make sure that the project is relevant to the population we've selected, as well as making a meaningful impact. Making sure that when we select our target audience, that we can realistically get to those people, we can realistically talk with them, we can actually do something that is going to benefit them. Let's say I don't speak Spanish and no one in my group speaks Spanish, but we choose to present to a Spanish speaking population. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, because how am I going to actually reach and benefit that population if I'm not speaking their language? So we really want to make sure realistically that the group we're choosing are people that we can actually reach and make a meaningful impact with. And then when we're developing our project, we want to make sure we have a really focused, clear topic to help guide us and really simplify what it is we're doing. That's going to help lead to a better, meaningful impact. So this week, our focus is really going to be talking about target audiences, different project ideas, really identifying what population we want to focus on. Do we have any contacts that can lead us to working with that group? What oral health needs might they have? And again, when we talk about this, we might be talking about it in our group, but we really need to reach out to the actual group that we want to work with to find out if those needs align. We may assume that a group has a certain need, and then later when we talk to them, we find out that their needs are totally different. So we really want to make sure that, we can brainstorm ideas as a group, but we want to touch base with that group or with the leaders of that group to make sure that we are in alignment. Okay, so this week, the two things that we're going to work on that are due are we need to do project update number 2, which is really focusing on the selection of your target audience. So who are you going to do your project or presentation with or to? And then we have discussion post number 2, which focuses on this week's topic, which is talking about how we identify community needs and how we select our target audience and topic.